Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. It's October, and I better start talking about some horror movies, even if they're new. Because usually when it comes to the Halloween season, I usually like to talk about older movies, but this is actually a movie that wasn't really on my list because I didn't hear much about it, but then I hear everybody on the internet talking about it, so of course I had to see it, but of course I didn't get to see it because it was my birthday, and it came out during my birthday, and everybody was, I wanted to be with everybody on my birthday without having to worry about seeing movies, but I really wanted to try to squeeze this in, and I did. This time I'm going to be reviewing The Substance. Now, this comes to us from the director of Revenge, which came out in 2018. You know, that horror film about a woman trying to get, well, revenge. It's a very basic film, but it's one that I found to be very entertaining. And with this film, we follow an actress played by Demi Moore named Elizabeth Sparkle as her career has been struggling as she's not as popular as she used to be, mainly just due to the fact that she's not as pretty as she was anymore. So she manages to run into this special medication called The Substance that helps bring in the youth within her. And she uses it a lot throughout the film and kind of gets obsessed with it. And, I've heard that this film is supposed to be one of the most disturbing body horror films in recent memory. And yeah, they were not kidding, too. Now, I will not lie, throughout a lot of the film, I was all like, okay, yeah, this is disturbing, but come on, it can't be that grotesque. Yeah, the last 30 minutes. This is a 2-hour and 20-minute long film, and yeah, a lot of stuff does tend to happen, but not in the way that you would expect. And some people might find that to be very boring, but let me tell you, the last 30 minutes, yeah, I could definitely see where people were coming from. I had myself a big bucket of popcorn while watching this movie, and obviously it was not a very good idea, because when it comes to most body horror films, I do tend to, be used to eating. Because when you watch The Thing for the first time, yeah, it's very disturbing, but because so many people have rewatched that film, they've kind of gotten used to it. And with other films like The Fly, or other popular body horror films, Hellraiser even, yeah, they're pretty much easy to get used to. But watching this, I don't think we're going to be able to eat through watching this film anymore, because it was a bad idea from the start. Like, imagine, watching this movie at, like, a dining food restaurant. Something like, a dine-in, like, we have those around my place, and, yeah, eating, like, a giant pizza while watching this movie is probably a very bad idea, because it is grotesque, it is disturbing, and I absolutely loved it. This is a film that really focuses on the minds of being way too obsessed with, de-aging yourself. And, there's a scene in this movie where technically, two people are the main stars, but, those two people are the same person. And it was honestly hard for me to know who exactly I'm supposed to root for, especially when it comes later down the line when we get close to the climax of the film. But at the same time, because I was so intrigued about what was going on in terms of this obsession, trying to, every time she ran out of medicine, she had to go and get more, and it's causing her a massive amount of anxiety because she loves this younger version of herself. And I'm not going to go any further, but her regular body tends to change a bit when she gets this younger version of herself. And it is bizarre, and it makes for some really spectacular makeup effects that we don't really get to see in modern horror anymore. But it definitely reminded me of a throwback to a time where, horror movies would just throw a massive amount of gore into your face, but it's not always in your face. They always tend to keep it a little scattered, like have a little gore here, and then move on, progressing with the story, and then have a major geyser of blood later on. And there is one scene in particular in this movie is probably one of the bloodiest movie scenes I have ever seen in my life that might put the blood elevator scene from The Shining to shame. It was phenomenal. I had a blast watching it. Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, Dennis Quaid, they're all phenomenal, and they do their very best here. And I think they get performances that truly manage to pay off. And this is a type of horror film that really doesn't feel much like a horror film at first. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say it's particularly scary in the beginning, but when it does get to that build-up throughout its runtime, I feel like it really manages to boost up its horrific imagery, because yeah, change can be scary, but not in the way you would expect here. The change here, it is it is quite gruesome, and you know what, she should have just she truly made some bizarre choices here throughout the film, but it's one that I found to be very interesting. And yeah, like I mentioned before, it is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. Could they have shaved a little bit of that time off? Yeah, sure. I could say there were a few scenes, but it was just so investing to see where this all leads up towards the end. And it did not disappoint during the last act, like I mentioned before, but I'm not going to go any spoilers into bringing that up. But yeah, you just have to watch the movie for yourself. I don't know how long the movie's been out for, but I was glad I was able to catch it. The Substance truly is one of the most bizarre horror films that I've seen all year, and I haven't seen that many great ones, but this is truly one of them. It is grotesque, it is disturbing. It's one of the best body horror films in modern time, and maybe even of all time. Only time will tell, but I can definitely say it manages to bring out some really stellar performances. And I was truly hooked to the screen throughout a lot of the runtime. And by the end of it, yeah, it's one of those films that I am certainly happy I didn't miss. I could see myself maybe skipping Megalopolis because not many people have been saying nice things about that film, but this is a film I'm really happy I did not miss out on. Yep, the hype was real for this one, and it truly managed to deliver in what it promised because it was shown at a film festival. People loved it, and yeah, it managed to live up to that love. I loved it, and hopefully you will if you're into this type of stuff. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And I don't know exactly what I'm gonna have planned for this Halloween season. I know Terrifier 3 comes out this month, so yeah. Though my first review of an older piece of horror media will be out soon, but it's going to be for a video game, and it's one that I am really looking forward to talking about because, funny thing, it's actually going to be the game's 10th anniversary this year, so this is the perfect time to talk about it. If you saw my last monthly vlog, you probably know what it is. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Ward out.